Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Tom Johnson begins now.
Millions in funding has been poured into flood-prone communities to prevent a repeat of the horrific weather events of the past decade. It will be used to build huge levee walls, but some question why it has taken this long.
They remember it like it was yesterday. The sight, the smell, the destruction.
The road was just peeled away like butter. You just couldn't fathom the amount of water that was in the town.
The 2011 Railton floods and the 2016 Latrobe floods swamped 2 small communities that are still feeling the effects both mentally and physically.
Some of them haven't recovered, yet. They're still damaged and that sort of thing.
If the horrific weather event will repeat again is a question for Mother Nature, but mitigating the damage has become a top priority locally. The state government committing an extra $3.4 million for Railton and $3.6 million for Latrobe to build new flood levees.
It is a very expensive exercise when you're talking about such high levies.
A blowout to the original construction budget had left both local leaders desperate for funding. In the case of the Kentish Council, the project cost had ballooned by an extra $10 million.
And I'm very grateful to the state government to help us. We got stuck.
But the timeline has critics dumbfounded. The government believes both levees won't be fully built for another 3 years.
I think the government just really has to get on with it. We could have another flood any day.
A review into the 2016 Tasmanian floods offered 24 recommendations to reduce future risk. It was handed to government almost 4 years to the day. Since then, only 14 of those have been adopted.
Of course, we'd like to see all those recommendations be completed as soon as possible.
Garth Burley, 7 Tasmania News.
This morning's Peace Super of a fog didn't deter 1,400 athletes from rising early to take part in the Launceston Running Festival. From professionals right through to those participating just for fun, they took to the streets around Launceston searching for a good finishing time.
Rain, hail or fog, runners have to be prepared to race in all conditions. Competitors in this year's Launceston Running Festival reduced to a silhouette in scenes reminiscent of a horror movie.
The weather conditions looking pretty good. I know it's foggy, but conditions, no rain, no wind, really good for running.
The spooky look didn't deter athletes. Entrant numbers remained healthy, despite the last edition being held just 6 months ago.
We were over 1,400 as at last night, so you could say they're pretty much the same as last year, and we're really pleased with that.
From the half marathon through to a 1 mile dash, there was a distance to suit everyone. For many, this is an annual tradition, while for others, it's a first step towards a successful career.
I went really hard for the first 10 Ks. I think I did it in like 40 minutes. And then those hills got slowly harder and harder.
In the half marathon, a familiar face was at the front of the pack. Hometown hero Millie Clark taking out the women's, setting her second fastest time and a state record.
I'm so happy. I don't want anyone to ever do this race ever again, or I'll just have to run faster.
It goes to show that this course is super fast, one of the quickest in Australia, if not the world, for half marathon running.
While in the men's, the gold medal is heading into state.
I'm from Sydney, so I did a 10K about a month or so ago, so that was a good lead-in for this.
John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
The future of the Tasmanian Labor Party will be decided on Tuesday as members cast their ballots to choose their next leader. Candidates David O'Byrne and Shane Broad have spent the past 3 weeks meeting with representatives across the state and both agree change is needed.
A devastating third consecutive election loss leading to some soul-searching within the Labor Party.
We haven't been at our best over the last 3 or 4 elections. We know that we have to do better.
We know the government are getting things wrong. We know that they are not fulfilling their promises. But the thing is, people aren't voting for us. So we have to have a look in the mirror. We have to be honest with ourselves and say that maybe it's not everyone else that's the problem, it's us, and we need to change.
Leadership hopefuls David O'Byrne and Shane Broad have been travelling the state for the past 3 weeks, making their pitches to members and hearing about the issues they want prioritised.
about a lack of health delivery, a lack of support for housing, lack of infrastructure delivery. These are the things that Labor Party members feel strongly about, and as a potential leader of the party, it's been fantastic having those discussions.
Shane Broad says if he's chosen as leader, it would be a clear sign the party is headed in a different direction.
It's about jobs, it's about the economy, it's about future for their children, it's about having options. So of course health and education are always going to be massive issues for us, but we have to start talking about those other issues.
Both agree Labor needs to be united, a factional divide dominating the first 2 weeks of their election campaign.
There are a lot of people who are frustrated with the Labor Party, and this goes back to Lisa Singh's pre-selection. It's not just about Dean Winter, these things have happened in the past and they can't happen again.
But the member for Braddon concedes the odds are stacked against him.
I'm not going to take anything for granted. We'll see what the result is on Tuesday night. If I am successful, there's clearly a number of things that we need to do internally to ensure that we are a united party and that we are focused on the issues that Tasmanians want us to be focused on.
A nervous wait for both until then for the phone call that will reveal who the next leader of the Labor Party will be. Next side, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmania's pickleball community has gathered in Kingston over the long weekend for the first ever state championships. Competitors from all corners of the state took part in the event, with some using the tournament as a springboard towards national glory.
From Port Sorell to Port Huon, Tasmanians are catching the pickleball fever. The growing community coming together for the first ever state titles. 60 competitors taking to the court in singles, doubles and mixed doubles. The sport, which combines tennis, table tennis and badminton skills, experiencing a surge in popularity.
The last 12 months we're really starting to grow quite quickly. We're getting quite a few more people into the sport and the word's spreading.
Organisers say more than 100 people of all ages and abilities play across Tasmania each week. Its simplicity credited for its growth.
I can take people that have never played a sport before, as long as they've got some mobility and they can have some balance, I can have them playing within 10 minutes.
Once you start playing it, it's like, this is so much fun.
This husband and wife duo are among the first locally to pick up a paddle after learning from American tourists. Both aiming high, setting their sights on the national championships later this year.
So we've got a contingent going, and I think there'll be a lot of more people coming to represent Tasmania as well.
Despite the game's social nature, the lure of being crowned state champion was on show.
Normally in our own clubs it's very social, so this is like as competitive as we've seen and everyone's trying to win. It's great.
John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
Hobart's wintry conditions haven't deterred footy fans from heading to Launceston Arena for today's AFL clash. A small but passionate crowd queued to enter the venue this afternoon for the clash between the bottom place Roos and 11th place Giants. It's the second match the Kangaroos have played in Hobart this year. At least another 2 are scheduled at the ground this season. Hundreds of people have braved the rain for the annual South East Suns truck show. Around 80 working and restored trucks, cars and cranes lined Pembroke Park, helping to raise money for the local women's football team.
Don't just get truckies, we get everyone from the community, so kids love it. There's not very often you see this many trucks in one spot.
We're a female standalone club, so the fact that we can support ourselves and be really successful financially, that's awesome. So we're very lucky to have people that want to put in a lot of work.
Additional funds raised during the event will be donated to charity. And Huon Rowing Club will be represented at the Tokyo Olympics with a club member on the plane to Japan. Sarah Hoare has been selected for the Australian side, with the 33-year-old part of the women's rowing 8 team. She has previously won gold medals at the World Championships in the Coxless 4. Australia will send a total of 38 rowers to the Games, which begin in just over a month.
Welcome back. 15 degrees today in Hobart. Launceston had the state's top with 18 degrees. Burnie hit 17 with 16 in Devonport. Around Tasmania, 17 degrees for Low Head, Scottsdale, Sheffield and Wynyard. 16 at Cressy, 15 for Smithton, Fingal and also on Flinders Island. 14 degrees at Strawn with 13 for Campania and Grove. The charts show low cloud moving up from the south, blanketing much of Tasmania today. Further out, mid-level cloud extends from WA to Queensland. A spiralling band forms around a low off the east coast of Tasmania, clear for the remainder. Tomorrow a trough is visible from Northern Territory into the central regions, a weak low present over South Australia. Locally, variable winds tomorrow, 5 to 15 knots, variable to 10 knots for the Central Lakes. A moderate flood warning is current for the South Esk, the Meander and the Macquarie rivers. A minor flood warning is current for the Jordan River. Cloudy and rain tomorrow, 14 degrees in Hobart, Dover and Ouse. 15 in Launceston, a few clouds about there. 14 in Devonport and Scottsdale, showers throughout. 14 at Burnie, Strawn and Stanley, with 15 degrees and cloudy conditions for St Helens and Swansea, 14 degrees for Ross. Tuesday brings showers across the north, a fine day elsewhere, mainly fine for most areas on Wednesday, just some showers in the north and the east, with similar conditions again on Thursday. Looking at your major centres now, 18 degrees and showers tomorrow in Perth, 20 in Adelaide, showers and 15 degrees for Melbourne, 19 in Sydney, 23 and sunny for Brisbane, with 30 and a sunny day for Broome. And it's 12 degrees in Hobart and Launceston, 11 and cloudy in Devonport. And congratulations, Tom, on your big run today. How are those legs, mate?
Thanks very much, Sam. Well, yeah, they're pretty sore. Almost got lost in that fog this morning, I'll tell you what. Well, thank you very much for joining us as always. The Eagles and the Tigers is live from Perth up next. Have a great evening.